Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining this month's webinar. My name is Teresa Donahue, Brand Engagement Marketing Manager at Volusion. In today's webinar, you will learn how to write enticing product descriptions that sell. Our host presenting on today's topic is Carmela Nazareno, Volusion's Product and Lifecycle Marketing Manager. Carmela will walk us through the most common mistakes sellers make when writing product descriptions and tips for making your product descriptions appealing to your customers. Before we get started, I wanted to mention if you have any questions, please submit those in the chat section during the webinar. Tomorrow, we'll be sending out an email with a recording of the webinar and answers to your questions. So let's get right into it. Carmela, I'll pass it over to you.
Hey there, thanks so much for joining me on this month's webinar, where in less than 15 minutes, I'm gonna walk you through 5 simple rules for writing irresistible product descriptions. My name is Carmela Nazareno, and I work with our Volusion marketing team, specifically on product and lifecycle marketing strategies. So today I'm going to be sharing some tips on writing compelling copy or writing product descriptions that get people to pay attention to what you're selling. Let's get started. Here I put a couple photos that pretty much sum up what I think is one of the greatest lessons I've learned in writing throughout my career, and that is to think less podium and more coffee shop. Now, what exactly do I mean by this? When you think of somebody speaking from a podium, they tend to speak to the masses, sometimes use words that are a little bit complex or hard to understand. It tends to sound a little bit impersonal. Compare that to, being in a coffee shop with a friend. Conversations tend to be a lot more personal, easy to understand. There's no guessing what you're trying to say or get across. So when it comes to writing product descriptions, we want to follow something similar to that. Because when customers are spending so much time trying to decipher what you're saying, that leaves them little time to absorb it. So this brings me to our first rule, which is to make it about the customer. So your customer is always going to ask, what's in it for me? So it's very important to use their language. It's really important that you're proud of the product you're selling, but too often companies get so focused on the product that they're selling and what makes it great that they lose sight of why the product exists in the first place. So in your messaging, simply replacing I or we with you or your can make your messaging more customer-centric as it should be. So let's take a look at this example. Our state-of-the-art mattress features encased coils engineered with an organic insulator pad. So the customer is going to ask, what's in it for me? So how about rephrasing it to something like, get so much more than a good night's sleep. With this ergonomic mattress, your back pain will become a distant memory. Hear the difference? And that brings us to rule number 2. Agitate the problem. So what is it that makes infomercials so attention-grabbing? Well, they recreate a moment. And mostly they're moments of frustration. So as you can see in these examples, infomercials capitalize on exaggerated depictions of problems that their products claim to solve. Surely you've seen one or all of these infomercials before. So in your messaging, truly highlight the problem. And how do you do that? You do that by recreating the moment for your customers. So perhaps instead of asking, do you need car insurance? Try asking, have you been paying too much for too little coverage? Number 3, and this is our third simple rule for writing compelling product descriptions, and I'd say it's one of the most important, is to learn the difference between features and benefits. So an easy way to remember the difference is that features tell and benefits sell. What do I mean by that? Features describe the technical aspects of a product, while benefits take those features and relate them to how they solve the customer's problems. So, say for example, your product features wireless charging, but what's in it for me? Here's an example. Our software is equipped with our file recovery technology. Instead of phrasing it that way, you can really focus on the benefits and how your product makes a positive impact on the customer by rephrasing it to something like, you'll never have to worry about deleting something by accident ever again. We've all been there, right? Deleting something by accident doesn't feel good. You don't want it to happen again. So expressing that into your product description will make it instantly more effective for your customers. And here's a classic example of a company that's mastered the art of being more benefit focused than feature focused. So instead of stating that your music player has storage for 1 gig of MP3s, you can simply say 1,000 songs in your pocket. Now, which do you think is more compelling? Our fourth rule is to be descriptive, but don't state the obvious. So say you're selling a coffee maker. There's no need to say it makes coffee. Instead, share what makes your particular coffee maker unique. Does it make coffee in under 5 minutes? Can you make cafe quality lattes in the comfort of your own home in just 3 steps? Because attention spans are only getting shorter and shorter, you'll want to capture your customer's attention right away. So steer clear of overly wordy descriptions using complicated jargon. And in addition to this, you can further help your customer understand what your product is all about by using bullets where you can. So bullets help organize your product description so that it's easier to read. And within those bullets, include information that your customers need to make an informed decision. So for instance, how big is the item? How much does the item weigh? What's the height or the width? What material does the product contain? And does the item come with any accessories, warranties, or guarantees? Another tip when it comes to being descriptive but not stating the obvious is please do not copy from the manufacturer or third party. Make sure to include reasons why customers should buy the product from you. So that brings us to our fifth and final rule for writing irresistible product descriptions, and that is to test and get feedback. So you've written your product descriptions. Hopefully you've written several of them to test. Now it's time to get others' opinions on what you've written. Oftentimes we get very caught up in what we write ourselves that it's difficult to, see things from a different perspective. Is this version more compelling than that version? What resonates better with my target audience? And to do this, you can really get free feedback from your own team members, your friends, your family. You can also test in a different way, say by running A/B tests where you change one variable in a landing page or an email and determine which version tends to resonate better or lead to more sales. So in this part of our webinar, I'm just going to walk you through the product description cheat sheet. So anytime you're working on writing product descriptions, whether you're a novice or you're super experienced in this, or you want to involve a team member and give them the opportunity to help write product descriptions, just follow these simple steps and you should be well on your way to writing compelling product descriptions. So first and foremost, list out your product's features, and it could have a lot. So Try to select the ones you think would be most important to highlight. And from those features, list out the benefits that they bring to your customer. So every feature should have a benefit attached to it. And in writing product descriptions, really focus on describing the benefits and why they solve a customer's need or problem. Then make sure to include information that your customers need to make an informed buying decision. Also, what makes your product or service different from those currently in the market? That's extra important to add in your product descriptions as they set your product apart from others. In your writing, it's important to use sensory words. Think back at the infomercials where they're recreating a moment so that a customer can see themselves using your product and benefiting from it. Finally, organize your description so it's easy to read. And you can do so by using shorter sentences, using bullet points to organize, and formatting such as bolding, underlining, or italicizing if your platform allows. And that's it. You're now equipped with everything you need to start writing irresistible product descriptions. If you need help improving your website, your social media, or your overall marketing strategy, get in touch with Studio. That's our in-house marketing agency that can create a digital strategy that's custom built for your store. We'll include a link in the description where you can learn more. With that said, we hope to see you in our next webinar, and thanks again for joining us today. Bye.
Thank you, Carmela, for sharing your expertise with us today. We hope you start to see an increase in your sales from implementing these tips into your product descriptions. Keep an eye out for that email from us tomorrow that will include today's webinar recording and answers to your questions. Thanks again for joining us. Have a great rest of your day.